What's up?
Hello, howdy, partners.
What's up?
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
What's up?
Oh
Remember
my
that?
God. Dude,
Remember what's up?
yeah, I've been trying to forget for 20 years. It wasn't funny then. It's not funny now.
How old is that commercial, by the way? I don't want to pretend to.
Yeah, it's old.
Yeah.
Hey, I was listening to that. Nick says, sorry, Nick. Sorry. We got a show to do. These stuck finally catching this live. Sick. Love the loading animation. Nice to hear. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Jace is usually late. What are you talking about? I'm never late.
Yes, always
because
late.
I'm a wizard. I arrive precisely when I mean to.
Yeah.
I
hope you're all doing well. It's Wednesday again. It's the hump day.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's true. It's all downhill from here, as we say. Starting with State of Dev.
I never understood what hump day meant until like 2 months ago.
Oh, really? Did you think that was just the day that people humped on?
I mean...
people are just like, yeah, woo, Wednesdays.
No, I didn't necessarily like, oh, Wednesday's the day you hump on, but it's like, you know, sometimes couples have the thing where like, yeah, on this day we bang as like a scheduled thing.
All right, we're banging on the 4th. The 10th of the month.
There's a lot of phrases like that. There's a Swedish phrase for, maybe you've heard of this. It's like, smaken är som baken.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah. That phrase, it's like, it literally translates to taste is like your butt. Okay?
All right.
Everyone's like, that doesn't make any sense. And that was for me too. Like for the longest time, I'm like, why are we saying that? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And it's because I didn't hear the entire phrase. The entire phrase is smaken är som baken, delad, as in like it's split. Because your butt is split, right?
I get it, yeah.
Divided, yeah.
That's true.
And that I didn't learn that.
Although you'll have the shit in the blue cabinet saying, which
just
doesn't mean
make
anything.
sense.
It just doesn't mean anything. Yeah. We got a raid, by the way, from Yuri.
Hey, Yuri.
Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome to the show.
Buddy.
State of Dev just started. You didn't miss anything. Thanks a lot for that. Appreciate it. Unfortunately. Rumi saying happy 1.0 day. Yeah, that is true. So anyone else listening, maybe on the VOD, today is, what is it, 1.0 Satisfactory's anniversary?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it today?
I believe so. I believe so.
Today?
A video went out today.
Shit. All right, cool.
If it's not today, it's something around now. Yeah. So
damn. Has it only been oh shit. Feels like yesterday. Not gonna lie. Goodness gracious.
It does. And crazy there was like a major update even between that, right? So like
Yeah. It's all a blur, man.
It is all a blur. It really is.
It's weird. Yeah. But like a lot of my time at Coffee Stain now is just a blur. You know how they say that like time, you perceive time based on just like what you're doing. So like during COVID, when we all sat like alone at home all the time, we didn't build any memories.
A lot of memories. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. I feel like I'm doing shit all the time now. So like I should be more conscious about it.
Yeah, I think the thing for me is like, I'm pretty conscious of all the things that I've been doing, but like when I think of like the Satisfactory stuff, like I've been away from it, you know, and I've been so absorbed in everything else that I'm doing. The fact that 1 year passed since Satisfactory's 1.0 is wild to me, you know? Like a lot of things has happened in a year, but like Satisfactory just hasn't been on my mind in that time. So it's, interesting.
Yeah. Same.
Time flies when you have fun, absolutely.
Not as long, but...
Yeah. It feels just like yesterday I worked with you both on Satisfactory videos, says Mason. Oh, the good times.
The good days.
Yeah.
You would send a video to Mason at like fucking 8 p.m. and
yeah, that was wild because of the time difference, right? Like at the end of the day, I'd send it to him. Go home, go to sleep, wake up in the morning. He's got a new thing for me.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. Like that format. I understand why they do that, like off, because I know that like big companies do the thing. I think Volvo does the thing where like they'll work on something during the day and then they'll like commit and then push, and then overnight like people at a different time zone would keep working on what they're working on, and then they would commit and like push, and then it would just be non-stop working.
Yeah, basically.
crazy.
Don't forget those 2-day turnarounds. That is true.
Yeah, exactly.
To this day, I still work with Mason, and to this day, you would think that I would get better at communicating things sooner, but no, I'm still very bad at it. No. I'm very sorry, Mason. That workflow was nice. It was cool. It's good times. Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice. All right, welcome on to the show. It's gonna be a little bit chill today because not chill. Wait, yeah, it's gonna be chill.
Chill.
I thought I said chill first, and then I regret it. Anyways, it's gonna be a little bit chill because Jason and I have both been pretty busy on other stuff. I think our state of dev today is just gonna be like. I don't do shit.
I mean, I could talk a little bit about state of dev, but it's not going to be about my game because I didn't work on my game. So I can't remember if I could talk about this last week or not. Again, a little bit of a blur.
No, I don't think you did.
Yeah, right. Okay, so there's another studio that I work part-time for called Nuggets Entertainment. We've been working on a game called Among the Wild. But recently we did like an internal game jam over the summer vacation when a lot of the studio was away. And the game that they, the people that were there, that they came up with, was something really, really, really cool, and that they really, really loved. And so we had this like really tough kind of internal like discussion, like, what do we do here? You know, like, do we just do a quick, short, and fixed period of time where we like, because this game could actually be a really quick game to like get out, like just a short, sort of small little game, and do it as this like quirky, janky kind of fun thing. And then go back to Among the Wild, or do we just leave it and just keep working on Among the Wild? And we actually decided to work on this other game for a fixed period of time. And so we're going to be dropping a game pretty soon. It would seem, folks. And that process has been going really well. And so what that also means is that because it's a short time period and it's game jammy, it means like every minute kind of counts, and we have to like get to work as much as we can. Now, I only work part-time for them, so it's not all the time in the world, but also in that video I was talking about some burnout that I've been dealing with, so I've been trying to just take some time for myself as well. But at the same time, whatever other time that I had to spare, I put into Nuggets and the work on that game. So I can't talk about what that work is. I can't show you anything, of course, right now, but it's something to look forward to, folks. There's going to be a new game dropping hopefully very soon, and you'll get to see the stuff that I did.
Juicy.
Yep. And see you, Yuri. Thank you very much for the raid. Yeah. So that's my state of dev, basically. But also a lot of energy sort of going towards prepping for Japan, which is another thing that I talked about in a video last week. I'm actually going to be going to Japan for a few months, so I'm looking forward to that. A lot of preparation stuff that I need to do for that still. It does also mean that we're not going to have a state of dev next week. And then from that point on, you guys will just have to like follow us on socials or our personal Discords or whatever, just to make sure you get up to speed with like what happens from that point on, because we'll have to sort of see, but like we just need to figure stuff out.
Yeah. The intention is that we're gonna keep doing the show Wednesdays. We might not do it at the same time that we usually do because of time difference,
time zone stuff. Yeah,
I think we already established that actually that it's 6 is like not possible, right? Or
yeah,
we actually haven't talked about that.
We'll have to figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But also there's like the technical aspect. Like you guys have seen that we've had some technical issues along the way. It seems to be really good now. But like, who knows? Like, you know, Snutt and I are in the same country right now. What happens if I'm on the other side of the world? Maybe it plays up or something. So we have to figure that stuff out.
Yeah. So it's like we both have to figure out how we do the show, when we do the show, and that kind of stuff. But the intention is that we're going to try and keep doing it somehow. But yeah, keep an eye out on the socials and whatnot. And if you can't catch it live, then you will always have the VOD. On the YouTube channel. And if you didn't know that we had a VOD for the YouTube channel, it's stateof.dev. If you go there, you can find all the previous episodes, and we try and upload fairly soon after we.
Usually within the day, unless I forget to push a button or something.
Or if I forget to push a button. So keep an eye on for that. We're gonna keep track of that. We'll see how that goes. And My state of dev is I'm facing a lot of burnout. I see a pattern here. It's just the season, folks.
Tis the season.
Tis the season. I have a bit of freelance work coming up, so that's also like taking up a little bit of my time. But the thing that frustrated me the most is I wanted to make a video on my YouTube channel. So last week I was recording. I recorded for 2 days. It's like a recording session of like 6 or 7 hours, something like that. And then I started editing it this week, and I realized that I've completely fucked up the audio settings, and all the footage is unusable. So I'm gonna have to do that again.
That is
and
rough.
that really. Yeah, and it's really rough, and it's like I've had it before where like I've recorded a video and can't use any of it, but I've never had it where like 7 hours of footage is just like unusable.
Yeah.
That was rough. So
Yeah,
that was
that
actually
is wild.
yesterday, yeah.
Like that's happened to me before with like, 30-minute recording sessions, and that is demoralizing as it is, So
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
can only imagine like a 6 hour recording. Oof.
The thing is, I'm gonna redo it, and then it's gonna take like 2 hours. to do
That
it
is
back.
oftentimes the good thing. Like
Yeah.
one good trial run of the whole thing does make it a little easier the next time. Like I remember with some videos that we've done. Do you remember the update 4 video that we did at Satisfactory for Satisfactory Coffee Stain? Yeah, we were filming for like 12 hours all day or something, and then like
Yeah.
and then the very last scene we had to go down to the basement, and we were all so done. We were just all so done, and it was the cellar scene where we talk about the lights coming to Satisfactory, and so we went down there, we filmed it. And then we came up and we packed everything away, packed up the lights, packed up everything, went upstairs. We're like, oh, we're finally done. And Snutt's like, oh, I'm just going to listen to the audio. And I remember being like, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And he listens to it. He's like, the audio cut out at the end. Like we ran out or something, right? And we're like, what? We had to go down and redo the whole thing. And we were so angry. But like that anger fueled us. We got everything first try and just got that shit done and then back up again. And it worked out really well. So the takes are good. Yeah.
We speed around that fucking thing.
Yeah. Like losing a save. Yeah. Rope shot.
But it is really, I like when we made videos, we would always like, we wouldn't really like rehearse them. We would like read through them, but we wouldn't like rehearse the scenes.
Yep.
And the fact that we did that and like figured out what we liked and didn't like in the takes and blah, blah, blah. And like finding angles, like that made it possible to just speed run through it, I guess. That is actually something that's true for a lot of stuff, by the way. I often see videos where people like recreate something in like Blender, and it's like, look, I can make this my own. Like solo artist made this in Blender in like half an afternoon, and it took an entire studio to make this in a year. Like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, but it's they figured everything out. They figured out like all the issues with the frame and like the composition, all that shit, and like just recreating something is so much faster than created from scratch. And that's something that I'm also kind of like tackling with my own work right now as well, because I keep changing things around. And at the end of the day, whatever I implement is not like something that's gonna, like if you see it and I tell you this took me like 3 months to make, you're gonna be like, how could this possibly have taken you 3 months to make? This is super obvious and simple, but it took a long time to get to that point, But yeah, so I've faced that. I've felt sort of like just today I just felt so demoralized working on anything. So I think I just decided that I'm just gonna take the rest of the week off and just like kind of like recharge my batteries a little bit and try and stay away from like any monitor or just any screens and just like try and recharge a little bit.
Nice.
Because I am a bit worried about like how to handle the whole like burnout situation and like how to tackle that.
And the thing is, like, I'm a little bit further into this than you are, right?
Yeah.
And like I was feeling this same stuff, in the beginning too. And yeah, it doesn't just go away, like especially when you're on your own, you have to like your attention is split between freelance work, your own project that you're carrying yourself. You do content as well, as I do. It takes like a conscious like effort to try and do something about that. And not that I figured it out, because I am burnt out too. So like, but it's every day do something better,
So that's the state of dev basically.
Yeah.
For both of us. And you might be wondering, like, whoa, that's a short stated dev. We're just gonna chill a little bit, hang out. We're gonna talk a little bit about Silksong today, and
Yeah,
not
and Hollow Knight.
specifically and
Yeah.
Hollow Knight and Team Cherry, I guess, and the whole thingy.
Yep.
I haven't played Silksong yet,
Neither have I.
and you're currently playing Hollow
Hollow
Knight.
Knight for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Do you want to just jump to that immediately, or is
Yeah,
there
we could
anything-
just dive into that. So chat, like I think that like there's a chance. I don't know how long this topic is going to go for. It might go for the whole thing. Who knows? But like we may even have space to just like come up with new topics as we go, chat. So, but there, like we sort of discussed this a little before stream, and it turned out that there was like a lot of little tangents that was kind of interesting to this. So, yeah, what do you even put for the topic of this? It's going to be kind of random.
I'm gonna put like chatting about Silksong maybe, or Team
Yeah.
Cherry.
Yeah,
I might change it as we go.
that makes sense. But okay, so the first thing, we could probably kick this off by discussing Hollow Knight, good or bad, first of all. All right, starting at Hollow
okay.
Knight, okay? And the reason I say this is because I remember, I think it was last week or the week before, you were saying, I was saying that I was going to play Hollow Knight, but you were saying that you didn't like it. You got far in and you stopped playing. Now I've played the game for many hours, and I absolutely adore it. I love it. Okay, and so I think this is a great starting point for us to talk about.
Yeah,
you know, like what is it that you didn't like about it, or what is it that I liked about it? We could start there and build up towards other things.
We're doing a little book club thing for games right now. Yeah.
Yep.
For Hollow Knight. Yeah, I should have booted it up and just like played around a little bit before the stream actually, so I could remember. But like there were two things that I didn't like specifically about Hollow Knight. And just to preface everything, by the way, even if I say that like I didn't like Hollow Knight, I still think it's a good game. I would still recommend Hollow Knight. I don't think there's anything wrong with Hollow Knight. It just didn't quite hit it for me as a Metroidvania game, or whatever you want to like. I make it sound like Metroidvania is like my bread and butter, which it really isn't. I play a lot of Super Metroid, and that's like I've played Super Metroid for many years, and that game is like ingrained in me. But it's not like I'm a big like Metroidvania enthusiast or whatever. I do play a lot of Metroidvanias, but like but anyway, so yeah, Hollow Knight, I think it's a good game. I think it deserves all the praise it gets and all that stuff. There's no like resentment for, you know, sometimes when you see people get really excited about something and you're like, but it's so bad. Like that's not at all how I feel about Hollow Knight. I just didn't quite get into it.
It just didn't jive with you.
Yeah, it just didn't jive with me, and for two reasons, or there were two reasons that I can think of. One is that I thought all the environment was like too similar, and it was really hard to like navigate. And I think you're deep into it now, so you also know that like, when you start out the game, you don't have like a compass, so you don't know where you are on the map. So you have to like unlock that, and that takes up like a slot. In your abilities. So like you're constantly thinking like I could min-max my character and have like an actual ability here, but I kind of need the compass when I'm moving around. So I would often find myself where like when I'm fighting bosses, I would need to go into the menu to like de-equip the compass so I can like equip another ability or something like that. I think that happened a lot of times, and I just felt like, why not just put it on the map? Like I appreciate what they went for. I think it's fun when like you have to look at the map and figure it out. But like I'm so used to Super Metroid and the fact that it shows you where you are. So like I think part of me is like, I think what they did is a good choice, and I think I wish I would have enjoyed that more, because like the game design brain thinks that's good. Sometimes I think sometimes games are too like lenient for the players, and it adds like too many like quality of life features that I think sometimes takes away a little bit of the fun from the game. And I think that was the thing where like when I started playing the game, I was like, oh, this is nice. I really like that. And as I was playing it, I was like, this is frustrating actually. So I felt like it was hard to navigate the environment. I felt all the rooms were too similar. There's like the first biome, the big blue one, is so big, so you don't really run into a new biome until like way later into the game, it feels like. So I was lost a lot of times. So that was one complaint I had. Or do you want to?
Yeah, just to talk on more on the map thing as well. Like I definitely like I definitely do feel the getting lost thing. Like a lot of the time I have the compass equipped, but there's been a couple times where I've like de-equipped it, to trade, like when I'm like, I think I should be comfortable enough with these areas now that like I can get rid of it and I'll have this other thing that'll help me. And it was still very challenging in that sense. But I do get this feeling that like it's something that I know that it was something that like as soon as I went into a new area, because when you go into a new area, you don't have a map. You can't see, you have no clue where you are. And I love that feeling because it's hard, it's frustrating, and it's like it's challenging. But the reason I love it is because eventually you get the map and then there's some relief. And then if you have the compass, there's even more relief. Right. And so like there's something about being in a new area that is like immediately challenging. There's friction on you immediately, but then eventually that friction like alleviates, And so I really, really like that. And then I know that like there's like a skill ceiling of like, if I get used to these areas enough, I can do away with the map with the compass. And I like that option is there as well. But then there's just sometimes where it's like, I really, really, really need the compass thing attached so that I can navigate. So I don't know. I like having those choices personally. But I totally see where you're coming from. And I definitely, that first biome, you are kind of only in that biome for a very long time, if I remember correctly. So I feel you there. Yeah.
Because I think also that first biome is the one you backtrack the most as well, because you keep going up to the surface to the shop and stuff like that all the time. And the I can't remember what that room is called, where all the bugs, the baby bugs. So you definitely like you stay a lot in that biome, and then eventually the game kind of opens up and. But it's still sort of like the same sort of palette, if I remember correctly. There's like a green biome underneath the blue biome, I think.
Yeah,
that's
to
like
the left. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a like breath of fresh air when you finally see another color than blue. I felt like.
I see, because there is a blue area and then there's a city area that's blue as well. Yeah, I don't know. I personally found the biomes to be distinct, even though maybe like palette wise, sure, maybe they didn't like differentiate that much if it was like a blue area into a blue area, but like I still felt like the design of the levels themselves were quite distinct. Like you knew the second you were in a different biome. That's how I felt anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you do. It's hard for me to keep track. It's like hard for me to mentally build a map of like where I am.
I remember struggling with that. I remember that being like more of a mental task than it usually is for me in games. So like I think that there's definitely something there that like is challenging. But the thing that I love about it is that, to me at least, as I kept playing, it all gets alleviated, like either by familiarity, by doing the runs more often, maybe with the compass. There's some other things that gets sort of that you kind of get that help you with it, or help you with navigation in general. Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like if you move to a new town and you explore the town more and more, and you get more familiar with it. That's how it sort of feels to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I feel the same way. It just takes too long for me to get to that point, I think. And I think another part of that is also because a lot of the rooms like when you enter a room, they're usually fairly large. And I think I'm used to, and I don't know if this is a preference I have, but one thing I just realized that when I was thinking about it, a lot of rooms in like a lot of other Metroidvania games are usually you can see the entire room in like almost one screen. It's usually like, when you go from one door to another, it's like maybe the screen plus another screen, right? And it's like one corridor almost often, or if it's not, it usually has like a pretty distinct shape. And I don't know if that's the reason, because a lot of rooms in Hollow Knight are just big areas, and you have to like just figure out where to go, and it's almost like it's not actually a room; it's just like big. It's just one big 2D world, sort of. But wait, so when you enter from one room to another, does it do the transition, or I can't remember?
No, I think it goes to black and then it loads.
Yeah, okay,
to black and then comes back. Yeah.
So there's some kind of transition at least.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was all seamless or not, but yeah. Moving around the environment was one thing. The other thing that I found really, I think this is the main thing, was that it just felt sluggish to move around. Because like there's big environments, but it felt really sluggish to move around. And I can't really pinpoint why I feel like it's sluggish. This is kind of why I wish I would have booted it up before stream and just feel the controls a little bit again. But this is just one thing I remember is that it felt like so slow to move around, and when you need to backtrack a lot, it felt like it took forever to go from one place to another. And especially then you're like, this was where I was supposed to go, so you have to like
Yep.
go to someone else where I think I want to go and stuff like that. So I just remember the controls feeling very sluggish, except when you fight bosses, because I feel like the controls were designed for like the combat first and foremost, because there it feels super tight. It's like you have all your melee abilities are very distinct, and there's like a really nice time to kill with all the enemies, for that like Souls-like vibe, right? Where you don't want to just like run through and just kill things immediately. You actually want you want each encounter to actually feel sort of meaningful, and I think it does a really good job with that stuff. It's definitely more of a Vania game than a Metroid game, I would say, because I think the Castlevania games do something very similar, where you're not just like rushing from room to room. But I feel like the Castlevania game, by contrast, does the thing where at the beginning of the game, it's very much like Hollow Knight, where it takes a long time to move from room to room, and each encounter is very like deliberate. But when you level up, it's like you just blast through everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't really feel the same way with Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was more like evenly paced.
My experience of it is that like I think that all of the things that you're saying are true, but I think all of the things that you're saying are become alleviated, like all of those. So like I think that movement in the beginning is sluggish, especially compared to where I'm at now, because it's like not sluggish now. And moving around did take a long time before. Like there were so many times where I was like, oh, I have to go over there. Well, I can't be bothered going over there, so I'm just going to go over here instead because it would take so long to get there. But like that gets alleviated as well, where that's not really a problem anymore, as well, in multiple ways. So like I think that like it could. I absolutely can see people rubbing up against that and going, ugh, don't like it. And then if they rub up against it too long, then they'd be like, okay, that's not for me then, right? And they'd bail out. That makes sense to me. But the fact that I've come out, I suppose, the other side, I actually really appreciate those early moments now, because like I feel so much bigger and stronger and better because of it. You know, like the contrast between where I was in the beginning compared to now feels so good. That's the thing that I really like about it, and that's what I assume that we're probably going for. But yeah, at the end of the day, if it turns you off before you get to that point, then yeah, I can understand.
Well, the thing is, because I almost beat it. I played until.
Oh, I haven't beaten it yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to like not spoil anything.
Okay.
But I have gotten further than you have.
Okay.
But I can't remember, because the way I'm trying to remember. It's so long since I played it. But I think I'm like almost at the last boss, or like I'm like just maybe 4 or 5 hours away from beating it or something like that.
Okay. But then you must have like a lot of like ways to move around quickly.
Yeah, I did, but
Okay.
I still
Still felt slow?
sluggish. Yeah, I still felt sluggish.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's really hard to like. The thing that's also a little bit annoying for me is when I play a game and I'm like, this is not for me. I don't want to keep playing it. But I can't really. Obviously, I can say these two things irk me, but like I also don't agree with me in some regard. Like I also don't necessarily think that should ruin the experience, or like that shouldn't really stop me from playing it. So it might have just been that this might be a game that I need to play again and see if I can get into it.
Give it a try.
Or something. But the one thing that I find kind of interesting, and Sean, thank you for that raid, by the way, I appreciate that. Is that so I've felt this way about Hollow Knight for a long time, and I remember when Hollow Knight came out in like 2017 or whatever, when it came out. I always felt like I'm the only person who doesn't like this, and recently I've been very active in the Super Metroid speedrunning community, and I've noticed a lot of people saying the same stuff that I'm saying. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting that people who play specifically speedrun Super Metroid share sort of the same sentiment. Um,
Interesting.
I just want to point out as well, though, that not everyone share. I think some people are pretty bad at expressing what they don't like about it, and a lot of people come off with the whole like, if I don't like it, then it's a bad game, which I don't. That's not at all how I feel. So, yeah.
Which is an interesting mindset, which because it assumes that one's taste is the absolute judge of, you know, like if there's a game that I don't like, it's silly for me to think that therefore it's probably because it's a bad game, because my taste is the correct taste in games. Yeah, that's very interesting kind of.
I always hate the term it's objectively bad, and it's like it's so hard to say when something is like. You can say that about maybe like statistics or whatever, but when it comes to like games, it's so hard to say like this game is objectively bad. And I feel like I've certainly heard a lot about that, like when I worked at Coffee Stain, where it's like, yeah, Satisfactory is the worst Factorio. It's like, all right. I mean, if you like Factorio, you don't want to play Satisfactory for whatever reason.
You want to talk about games that were objectively bad. I worked on Goat Simulator. Right, but a lot of people love that game. So
yeah, true.
Yeah. I think it's fun as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, but that's the point of the game, right? Yeah. So,
but that was just a fun observation that I had. That like, oh shit, a lot of people. But I still can't really like. Yeah, I need to play it again, I think, and just see if I still feel the same way or not. But I've heard people say that they felt the same way of Silksong and.
Well, I would love to take a moment to gush about Hollow Knight.
Yeah, go for it.
If I may.
Go for it.
The game's fucking amazing. It's absolutely incredible. The game is 11 out of 10. It is so fun. There's like, I do really enjoy running around the world. I love all the characters. The music is beautiful. The art is beautiful. The animations and the feedback is gorgeous. I think that the movement is so crisp. It is like this literal input. Every button and movement you do, you get the exact response back from the character, and nothing more or less. So if I internally, subconsciously find an opening on a boss and I want to attack and will it into existence, the knight attacks. There's no weird like delay or anything. I am the Hollow Knight, okay? And when it comes to like platforming, all these like crazy like difficult platform jumps and like bouncing and pogoing on things, it's just so satisfying. So incredibly fun and satisfying and beautiful. I love it to bits. And I think that's I don't know what to say. That's it, basically. I think it's incredible. And so when I think of that game, I matrix dodged this game all this time. Like I just started playing it, and I hadn't looked at it before. I didn't see anything about it. I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't sure if I would enjoy it or not. But yeah, I was completely gripped by it, and so glad that I got to play it. And
I also love the switch up.
Yeah, what a switch up.
Yeah. No, I'm happy. I'm happy. Like, I mean, I think it's great that so many people like it, because I do think, like you say, there's so much love that went into making this game, and it totally deserves all the praise that it's received, and like all the praise that it's received over the years, because it totally, I mean, clearly, being how hyped up Silksong has been, it's totally stood the test of time, right? In terms, in many regards.
Yeah.
Given the fact that people still have talked about it for so many years and memed about Silksong and that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I do remember when Hollow Knight came out, it was very breath of fresh air. It was very like, I think a lot of, it was right around the time when like Souls games were very popular. I think, what was the last FromSoft game? I think it was Bloodborne, right? It was 2016. Hollow Knight. When did Hollow Knight come out? 2017. Yeah, so it was like a year after Bloodborne. So FromSoft was like right up there, man. And that's when other games started like incorporating like Souls-like
elements,
elements to their own games. And I think, if I remember, this is like the first time I've heard of a Metroidvania game incorporating like Souls-like elements. I don't remember if Dead Cells was out then, but whatever. Which isn't really a Metroidvania game in my opinion, but maybe it is now actually. Whatever. Anyways, that's a weird tangent. So it was a really cool like game when I saw like the first trailers for it. I'm like, oh my god, this looks fucking dope as shit. I love FromSoft games and I love Metroidvania games. This sounds like a fucking match made in heaven. Yeah. The art style was super cool, super refreshing that it was like all like 2D animated as well, and it wasn't like it wasn't pixel art, which was also like very prevalent at the time. I felt like every Metroidvania game at that point were pixel art. Right. So it was super nice that wasn't that. Just sort of like contrast. And I remember really enjoying playing it for the first couple of hours. I still remember fondly of it. And then I didn't finish it. And then I played it again on stream like 5 years later or something like that, or 4 years later. And I tried to finish it, but I couldn't. But it had such a big impact. But when I looked at like, sales, or rather, I specifically looked at the CCU. It's crazy how different it is compared to Silksong. Right. I just want to pull this up here on stream. Actually, I'm going to pull these both up so we can do a comparison, because I was kind of blown away when I saw this. So Hollow Knight.
I think this is going to be pretty relevant to what Leah's mentioning here as well. Hollow Knight sold 80% of copies after Silksong was announced, which is pretty bananas. And Snoot showed me these charts earlier, and I think this is going to probably explain some things.
So this is Hollow Knight's chart, right? So before September this year, their highest CCU... It's a
leg.
Yeah. Their highest CCU was 20,000 players. By the way, should maybe also mention this, because I recently had a conversation about this with another community manager, that like people sometimes get a little bit too obsessed with the CCU. CCU only really tells you something about like that particular moment in time. Like it's more interesting to look at monthly active users and like daily active users sometimes, rather than just look at CCUs, because some games have pretty low CCU but have really high monthly unique active users, by the way. So sometimes these like CCU charts can be a little bit deceptive, but this is what we're rolling in for now because we see this. So like, their highest CCU before was 20,000 people in 2022, by the way, which is also kind of interesting that happened here. So and this was also, I don't think this is a sale because I think it marks it. Yeah, Humble Bundle. Or maybe it actually could have been a sale here.
It could have been maybe their own like percentage off.
Yeah, it could have been their own sale actually. I thought it marked it here, but maybe it doesn't. So because usually when you look at these charts, it's usually like these bumps are usually like a sale.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, and then you have September, and it's like 95,000 people played Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
So they broke their CCU by like a lot.
Yeah, it's like 5 times. Yeah, their old record. Yeah.
But even then, Hollow Knight's highest, given this amount of publicity, is like 95,000 is the highest. But Silksong is almost 600,000 concurrent players.
Yep.
So that's crazy.
So
clearly, like the Hollow Knight stood the test of time and has built this following over so many years that it all just like culminated here.
Yeah. So one thing that like, this is just a theory that I have, right? I have no idea, but like the feeling that I sort of get is that it must have been, so when I streamed the game, the energy that I got from my chat at that time was that, again, I went into this game so blind, right? I didn't know shit about the game really. But the feeling that I had was that the game was really beloved. And the characters were as well. And people were like really excited about like different parts of the game and things like that. And I think later people shared that there's like all these plushie merches of like all the different characters and things like that. And I thought it was, to me, I was like, okay, well, the only reason it would be they would have all these plushies of all these random characters, not just the main one, or the main ones, is because like there's a charm to the game. There's like a charm that a lot of people connect to in a lot of different ways. Like people would spam like different characters' names when I would first come across them because they're excited to see that character, you know? So the fact that like, I think this game is so beloved to people in a lot of different ways, that over time, I think it like probably just started becoming a little bit of a cult following, right? And so like, even though the CCU was low, the community was growing over time, right? And then the second there was something big happening, which is Silksong, then you have this large activated community or large community that you can activate basically. And I think that that's probably what kicked off like all the attention. And then that is probably what got Hollow Knight more of the sales as well. Another theory that I had, which makes Hollow Knight a really appealing game. This is another theory that I mentioned on stream. I don't know if this is right, just my little head canon thing here, is I think that Hollow Knight actually has a really interesting overlap between two groups of people, which combined can make it a very, very big community, right? And that is, one, Hollow Knight is actually a pretty hard game. So it's very challenging. It's Souls-like. There's like hard bosses. It's quite hard, right? And that's not everyone's cup of tea, right? Because some people don't want to deal with that, and that's fine as well. But one of the things that, if you were to compare, say, Hollow Knight to like Dark Souls, one of the things that I noticed personally with Hollow Knight is that Hollow Knight is something, I feel like it's a game that gives back to you. Whereas Dark Souls doesn't really give back to you that much.
Yeah.
It might give you some relief here and there, you know, like, oh, here's a bonfire. But Hollow Knight, to me, it's a game where the music is so beautiful and the art is so beautiful and the characters are so cute and adorable and you want to see them again. You know, like there's all these other things about the game that are so like lovable and endearing that even if the game is hard, perhaps people that aren't usually into that kind of stuff, they can tolerate it more because there's other things that they're getting from the game. That's just a theory that I have, right? And so therefore, I think it opens up this kind of game to a larger group of people than you would imagine at first. So that's just a theory that I kind of have with that.
I found a article here that says that Hollow Knight sold 50 million copies, and up until 2019, when Silksong was announced, they had sold 2.8 million. Wow. So like a lot of the sales are coming from the fact that it's still, I guess, relevant, and I guess Silksong made people interested or something. I don't know what the conclusions they're trying to draw here in this article. I think it's gonna maybe shouldn't draw conclusions here, but whatever. But yeah, I agree with you. I like Dark Souls I feel like is always designed to be like mean to the player. Like all the design decisions in those games are always like, no, we just want to be mean to the player. Like there's no real, like you say, there's relief when you find like a bonfire, but the relief moments are so far in between, and the game is designed in so many ways to like cut those relief moments away as much as they can, right? Yeah. Because even like the level design is designed to be frustrating. The type of items you pick up are always like where they're placed are also like frustrating. You know, how you die in those games are also like, there's so many moments like that. Whereas like Hollow Knight it's supposed to be more like smooth. You know, it does have the elements of that gameplay, but it, like you say, it doesn't punish you for playing the game.
Yeah.
And I think it strikes that balance perfectly for a lot of people. Like like you say, it's obviously a hard game, but it has things in the game that alleviates it a lot of times. I think.
And to me, it elevates it because, like, I do like hard games.
Yeah.
So it's, dude, the game. That's why I love it so much. Like, because I'm someone who really likes that kind of like the artsy side of things, the feel side of things of the game, right? That is like, I'm really sensitive to all that, so I really, really, really enjoy it. But then the fact that like, it feels like there's challenges in the game. It's really hard. Yeah, love it. Yeah, it tickles me in every possible way, if I may say.
Yeah.
The other thing is, can we bring up the chart one more time?
Sure. You mean the Hollow Knight one? Or?
Yeah, Hollow Knight one. Yeah. So if we can look at that one more time.
Yes.
The other thing that I just want to quickly mention is we saw something similar with Satisfactory, right? So Satisfactory's highest CCU before 1.0 was
It was like 32, I think, if I remember correctly.
right.
31, 34.
34. 34 sounds familiar. Yeah.
34 is the highest one.
Right. And then we get this. Yeah, 180. It's insane. Actually insane. But again, but like we can sort of maybe see a similar thing there. Like Satisfactory is very much a game that was like, you know, community grew over time, and it was this like cult game that grew over time kind of thing. Yeah. And so when it comes time to, hey, there's a major beat that's going to activate that community, they weren't all playing at the same time along the way, sure, but they were all playing at the same time now, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's why you see that kind of thing. And I think it's probably the same thing with Silksong. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Because, like, yeah, Satisfactory, at least the intention was really that we always wanted to feel like, you know, this is a game that's a work in progress and it's going to hit this mark of being done. And obviously, like, it stays on people's radar this entire time, right?
Yeah,
like, when it's going. And I do think that's true for Hollow Knight as well. Like, you know, Hollow Knight, I'm going to go back to that chart. Like, Hollow Knight, they announced Silksong in 2019, so 2 years after, you know, and you can see this like tail that's growing over time.
Yeah, exactly. The CCU is growing over time still, you know, like it's still going up. Yeah.
So it definitely stayed on people's radar, even though they were very quiet, which I think maybe I was never a part of their community.
There's going to be like a cult community or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's got to be memes or something, right? Like,
I wonder if they cultivated that, or if that was like something that the community just took upon themselves to cultivate, and they just did a good job with doing that. Because I feel like Team Cherry has been pretty like quiet, and they haven't really, you know, they don't want to announce anything unless they have something fun to show. But I haven't been on like the Hollow Knight Discord and like that, so I don't really know. Because sometimes people would say that like, oh, this flies under my radar. And then you look at like the actual work that they do for those games, and like, oh shit, they actually do a ton. I just don't really pay attention to it. I think that's true for a lot of times when you see these like community-driven games where, you know, if you're not actually partaking in it, you don't necessarily always see it. You know, you might see it pop up here and there, but like if you're not actively like paying attention to it, you might miss out on like a lot of work that goes into it. And that's how I feel about Hollow Knight, maybe, that like I haven't really paid attention to Hollow Knight a long time. So for me, it's like under the radar, but they've clearly been, you know, growing over time, given how their tail just increases.
Yep. Silksong Reddit was unhinged. Was it unhinged in a good way or a bad way, Macaroni? Leah says every single game showcase / Nintendo Direct was half the live chat spamming Silksong. Team Cherry's silence is what grew this absolute desperate hunger for info, which made the following grow, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it might have been luck to a lot of extent that like it just happened to be Silksong that everyone kept asking about, and it might have been the fact that they dropped a trailer and then didn't say anything for a long time, and then like suddenly it becomes a meme. It's like, where's Silksong, right? Silksong released, and then now that Silksong is out, what the hell are we gonna do now? Like, but yeah, I have seen a lot of really. I'm sure I can like I totally see the Reddit being unhinged, because I've seen so many unhinged memes about Silksong, and I'm not even on the Reddit. But clearly that made a huge impact on it.
I dodged everything. I was completely unaware of this. I heard that everyone lost their mind at some Silksong announcement, and I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
The funny thing too is that I was a bit like worried actually for Silksong, because I felt like they kind of missed a lot of opportunities when they actually were announcing Silksong. So like the first, when Nintendo Switch 2 was announced, there was like 1 second of Silksong footage, and that was the first thing we've seen for like many years. And it was like, it was also announcing that it was coming this year. So there was like in the Nintendo Direct, there was like a montage of trailers for the Switch 2. And one second clip showed Silksong saying coming 2025 at the like as a lower third. And that was, I think that was the first time we knew that it was coming out this year.
This is a very humble, kind of reveal,
Right. And people were like, wait, hold up.
Yeah.
back that up.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
the
yeah.
fuck?
Rewind.
Because like they could have
Enhance.
made like a whole they could have just made a whole thing at like the Nintendo Direct being like, oh, and by the way, Silksong is coming to Switch too, and that's like a beat, you know, people would go nuts about that stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing at like the I can't remember which, it was Gamescom or whatever. The next like big trailer event, they could have had like a big flashy trailer for Silksong and be like coming this date, and it would have been like a big thing, like fucking what's his name? His name, the guy, Game Awards. Jeff Keighley would have been like, hell yeah, look at this shit coming out. Like it could have been a whole thing, and they're just like, nah, we're gonna chill in the background. So I was a bit worried that like, oh shit, if they're not really, they have immense possibility to capitalize on the hype here, and they're not really taking advantage of it. But clearly they didn't need it. What do I know?
Yep.
Or maybe that actually was because of that. Maybe it's just the fact that they were so quiet about it. It just made it more. There's like a South Park episode where Cartman opens his theme park and he doesn't let anyone in, and that builds more interest to go to that theme park. So when he eventually lets everyone in, it's like a massive crowd. Maybe that's actually the plan. Just be like, nah, you're not gonna see anything.
Some folks earlier said that there might have been. Was there a DLC in Hollow Knight?
So Silksong was supposed to be
a DLC. Yeah.
Yeah. But and then they just kept adding to it.
Someone else mentioned that they might have released one of the Silksong trailers back in 22, perhaps?
Yeah, that's possible, yeah.
Because remember, we saw a spike. We were wondering what that might have been. So we had a couple people in chat mentioning this.
So May, what happens in May? Is that when... No, it's June when on the trailer... May is like Xbox Direct and like the console Direct. So maybe there was a Nintendo Direct or something there.
Okay. There were 3 free updates, according to Pino in the chat.
But they weren't like extensions, right? They were just like more of the same game, right? I think. Oh yeah, maybe that was around those times actually. But yeah, kind of wild.
Kind of wild.
And what's also wild is that they've managed to stay a small team this entire time.
That's true. I've heard the chatter that it was 3 people, but it's probably more than 3 people, right? But I guess what their studio is 3.
We took a look at the credits for the games, and it's like the core team seems to be usually when if you look at credits and you say like, oh, there's 3 people working on this, and then there's like 100 people in the credits. I guess there's something worth talking about too. There's this narrative in games journalism that's been going around recently, where they really love attributing like success to these small studios, saying like, "Oh, look at Balatro. It was made by one guy and it was massively successful." And the guy who made Balatro is like, "It's not made by one guy, by the way. Check the credits. There are so many people who are part of Balatro and have made it the game that it is." Local Thunk may have, started making the game, but he doesn't want to take like credit saying like, I made this game myself.
Yeah.
And that storyline has happened for multiple games now. We're like Claire Obscure. They're like, oh, it's only 30 people who made that game. Yeah. And they've said too, like, no, there's more than 100 people that we contracted for this game. So we did not make this ourselves.
Yeah. Just because they're not like on site, or they might have even been on site, like it doesn't mean that they didn't work on the game. It's like if they work on it, then they worked on it. Yeah.
I guess it's really hard to say that like, this game was purely made by one guy. And I think there was a trailer at Gamescom where I think they said this game is made by three people and 10 additional friends. And I just like laughed at that.
The friends weren't people though.
Like why do you need to? Yeah, like why are they attributed in this way? It's so strange to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's this like narrative that like, oh, the small games, bad AAA because you're so many people and you can't make as good games as these small developers can. I think it's a weird narrative. But Team Cherry seems to have been like core team of like 3-4 people. A couple of contractors that have like additional credits in the credits, but it's really hard to like boil down to how many people like. This is true for any game really, like how you attribute people to how much effort that goes into making anything really. Like A lot of games, it's like a Wild West. A lot of games just because there's no like rule how to make credit. Like there's no rule like, oh, if someone works this amount of hours on a game, they have to be credited. It's totally up to each developer. IGDA, the International Games Developer Association, I think it's they have like a guideline, like this is how credits could be credited, but there's no saying that like you have to follow that guideline. And sometimes publishers have rules that like, oh, you have to attribute us, all of us, even though not everyone worked on the game. And some studios do that too, where like if a studio is comprised of like 100 people and 20 people made a game, and you know, you still attribute the entire studio for that game because they worked at the same studio. It's kind of like all over the place.
Yeah.
But
looking at the credits for Hollow Knight that we looked at, it seemed like it was kind of them and then the additional people that were credited for, like, I think there was like a little bit of additional programming or additional set dressing and things like that. It's not really clear by looking at the credits how much work those people did, but it probably suggests that those who don't have additional on the thing did the majority of the work, and then the additional people came in and did some other help, right? That doesn't mean it was only the three that did it then. All the people that helped in the capacity that they helped. But looking at those credits, it does really seem like it probably was, for the most part, those 3 or 4. It's a bit tricky because one of them left after a certain amount of time or whatever. It does really seem like it was largely just those folks sitting together working on the game, and then choosing at the appropriate time to bring in contractors and localization and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And kudos to them for, and I guess that's why it took them 7 years to make this, because it's only like 3 or 4 people. Games take time to make.
It's true.
And they're also self-published, so that also means that they took care of all the marketing. Well, the marketing that existed,
which
maybe that explains the marketing.
I feel like I didn't see a lot, right? Like, and it might have just been emails with Nintendo for direct and these big things, and if they're busy making their game, right, and they've got to make these decisions, it's a lot to think of all of that stuff when you're also responsible to actually build the thing. So, yeah. The thing that I want to say though, if their team is that small, good for them. In terms of their sales and what they earned. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I'm happy for you.
Well, I also appreciate the fact that they stay small, because I think that's like my dream scenario. If I ever made like a hit game, I don't think I would be like, we can scale up and bring in like 10 more people. Or even in their case, like when they're working on Silksong and they see like just how much hype there is around Silksong, I could definitely see a path where they think like, shit, we got to finish this game because there's so much interest to it. We got to bring in external people to help us make this game. And I think that can be very tempting, especially when you have like a really successful title and you have the means to do that. But they were like, no, slow burner. We're going to take our time, do the thing.
We'll get contractors as we need them. Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't like burn out on this, or maybe they have actually, but they all stuck to it. Because like, you can also see it happening where 3 people work on one thing together for that long. It's like, well, I don't want to work on this game anymore.
I don't want to work with these people anymore.
Yeah, or that too. That can definitely happen.
Yeah.
So I always appreciate whenever I've spoken to a couple of developers who've had really successful titles and they just like decide to stay small. I really appreciate that, and that's definitely what I would have liked to do too. I'd rather take that like safety net of keep doing what I want to make, staying, especially if you have like a partner or a couple of people that you like making something with and you trust and just keep grinding and keep going and just make what you want to make. So yeah, I'm really happy for them. Not only because of the successful Silksong, but also the fact that they were able to do that for so long.
And such ambitious thing as well, right? Like, again, I haven't played Silksong yet because I'm not spoiling myself. I haven't finished Hollow Knight, but just judging by Hollow Knight, like, that thing is gorgeous. Holy cow! Like, money aside that they've earned, like their souls must be enriched with what they've achieved. Like I think,
Yeah.
I think it's really, really, really impressive. And if I
And
if I were them, I'd be infinitely proud of myself. So I hope they feel that way.
I also don't envy them having to dodge like every freaking like we want to buy your companies like
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that's like we want to publish Silksong for you guys like we can make so much money for
And
you.
take 30%, yeah, or something.
Yeah. Was it 50%?
Yeah.
What about that? So also kudos to that, like staying true to the indie dream or whatever.
Yeah. State of Dev made by 2 people plus 100 network engineers at Amazon. They're friends, 100 friends.
I wish. 100 friends. Yeah.
And then Mason says, you guys were too generous with your credits at Coffee Stain. I can't believe my name is in my favorite game. We were too generous. Do you remember how many times my name appeared?
Yeah.
For
Jace
every
translated
language?
every single language.
I translated every language.
Which is kind of funny given the fact that, you speak every language. So it would make sense that you would
It's
be
actually
credited
true.
for every
At least
single
I'm very good
language.
at imitating every language. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But that only happened because like I had set up the initial stuff for a lot of the languages. So my name was in the system for who contributed, basically. And that's why my name ended up going there. I think they removed it, and they should have removed it because I shouldn't have. Yeah.
I wonder if they did actually.
They should have. It shouldn't be there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But it's pretty funny.
Rob Chuck says, similar situation with Valheim devs. Good for them for staying small. A lot of people hate on slow dev, but I don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah, they're getting a lot of because that's another thing. Well, I guess they're in early access, so it's a little bit of a different situation there because I think when you make a game in early access, you do have some like responsibility to make sure that people feel like you are progressing to make the final thing.
Yeah, especially when they've already paid for it, right? Yeah.
Exactly, like you paid for something. Silksong wasn't early access, or Hollow Knight wasn't early
Yeah, they didn't
access,
owe it to anyone, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So there, it's a little bit of a different situation where you kind of owe it to people who bought your game to like actually do service to that. The brand of early access, which I guess is a topic for another day because it is really still pretty tricky to like define early access, I would say, and like what you actually buy into when you buy early access games. But yeah, it's true. The Valheim team have had to endure a lot of shit because they want to stay small, and they've just been like tinkering away on Valheim, and people are like, why don't you just get a bunch of people to finish it? And it's like, yeah, but that's not maybe how to stay true to your vision, or that comes with a lot of extra costs as well, not just like getting people in, but so gotta stay true to your vision, man.
Leah says that the devs apparently, Team Cherry, did not burn out. They said in a recent interview that they wanted to keep going and already working on DLC. Damn, I'm glad. I'm glad that they're just literally living their best life, right? The fact that we get a game at the same time is just a random, consequence of that. And this is something that I really believe in for like artists, creators, and devs and stuff in general. Like just let them cook, and as a dev, just cook. I think it's great. Because when I think if devs do that, then they're in the best position to give the best to everyone, right?
Oh, yeah. Hollow Knight was Kickstarted though, actually. I think it's a good point. That's brings.
Oh, was it? There we are.
Or say, they asked for 35,000 Australian.
So they probably had to deliver that one then, but they didn't have to deliver Silksong, I guess.
No. When was this? This was where did we?
Blind, can't see.
Yeah,
$57,000 in Australian. That'll get you.
What's the what's the word?
Exchange rate?
Exchange rate, yeah.
I think it's, if you put in like US dollars, my guess is it's going to be something like 40K. 57K becomes like 40K or something. Just a guess.
That's respectable. I wonder
Wait,
what the
Silksong backer service? Hang on a second. Can we show this on? Wait, I can show this. I'll press the button.
Yeah, I can show it.
All right, you do it. So
Silksong backer. This might have just been for people who backed Hollow Knight's
But does that mean that they had to deliver Silksong then? Because
So this is still for
this is the Hollow Knight campaign, right?
this is the Hollow Knight campaign, yeah.
So did they commit to making Silksong at some point?
I don't know.
That right? If there's a Silksong backers, does that mean people paid
question.
money and then they were like, you should give us Silksong then? Because the reason I ask is because my impression was that there was no obligation to make Silksong.
Yeah, I was under the same
Am I
impression.
right or wrong, Chad? Does anyone know? Second playable character was a goal, I guess. But then if that was the case, then Silksong wouldn't be a separate game, right?
No. Because there's no like Silksong Kickstarter, right? There's the enamel pin set.
There it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just like they gave this information to the backers and like gave them some kind of like,
Oh, okay. So here we are. Leah's got it. Silksong was meant as a Hollow Knight DLC. Since it became its own game, the backers were given keys for both games.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Well, I wasn't a backer, so I didn't get a fucking key.
Yeah. I had my
remember
head out my ass.
Do games still get Kickstarter? It's such a
Yeah, they do.
yeah. It's such a weird speaking from a publishing side, it's such a weird situation with Kickstarter specifically because like whenever I recently had this discussion with a friend who just pitched to a publisher and they wanted to like fund half of it, but a third of it has to come through Kickstarter. And Kickstarters are not super like it's kind of hard to like get your game signed off on Kickstarter these days. So like whenever you see a Kickstarter for a game, the amount that they're asking for is never like the actually amount they need to make the actual game. And when you do a Kickstarter, you actually kind of need to have a game that's ready enough for it to be fully displayed as to what you're getting. It's hard to say do a Kickstarter and say like, hey,
I have this idea.
I had this idea.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. No, you actually have to show gameplay and like show a playable or sometimes even a demo.
Yeah. I think as unlicensed streamer here is saying Kickstarter let down a lot of people backing games, so funding got really hard. Yeah. There had been a lot of those situations, right?
Because like if you go for games on Kickstarter, most of them are just board games now.
I see.
So those apparently are still a thing. But yeah, understandable. Like that's sort of what it's like, right, for publishing deals as well, right? Where, you know, a publisher will see an idea and be like, yeah, we could give you money, but that there's always risk. And I guess as a consumer, that risk is always hard to like imagine or whatever.
Yeah, that is the thing, because like publishers would take on that risk, right? But that's their sort of like part of their job to be able to assess that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good value for $1 right there. Well, it's long value, I guess.
Yep.
But I guess it depends on how much
they backed for.
It would still be less than a key for the game, I would assume. Like the minimum.
Wait, I backed a game recently on Kickstarter, and the funding was reached. They couldn't find a publisher, and so it got scrapped, and they couldn't refund backers.
Yeah.
Wait, so what happened to the money?
Refund backers. Kickstarter got it, I assume. Or did they get it? That sounds fishy because I don't see how they. I'm pretty sure Kickstarter has systems.
Hey, I got a game. It's I'm putting it on Kickstarter right now. Everyone, go fund it. Go back it right now.
I mean, we all know games that have been promised to people who do not specifically through Kickstarter, but like, hey, I'm gonna make a game. Give me money. I promise it's gonna be good. And then people do it, and then said game doesn't get made. A small loan of $1 million.
You know it would, Jace. Yeah, that's why I'm not gonna make the Kickstarter. Dude, I personally, like, I've had people ask me about my game. They're like, what if you Kickstarter? I'm like, I can't do that. I don't know that my game will get done. And so there's no there to me in my like there's in good conscience I cannot do that. I cannot do a Kickstarter and not deliver a game. So I prefer not having done a Kickstarter and going at the look, you know, I'm doing my best to make my game. If it doesn't happen, that's fine. But
yeah,
you know,
no, but Jace, that would give you an incentive though. If there's a Kickstarter, you would feel some obligation.
Oh, the pressure,
to finish it, right?
The pressure. Oh my God, I'm feeling it now.
Can we talk about something else? I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. No, that would just add more pressure. It's one thing to like, because when you have a publishing deal, at least you're, well. So,
I mean, there's still pressure in that, right? And there's already pressure in this situation that I'm already in, where I'm like, you know, there's people who like, you know, show up to my videos and things like that, and so like there's already pressure in this. And then of course, if you're with a publisher, there's pressure in that as well, because you don't want to screw that up, you know. But yeah, no matter what, there's pressure. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but Kickstarter and PayPal always take their cut, so they can't do 100% refund. I think I see that. Yeah, because like if a project gets backed, then Kickstarter sees that as like, okay, we're paying you out. I think the fallback system they have is if a project doesn't get refunded, then Kickstarter doesn't keep anything, I believe. But that's tricky when a project is funded through Kickstarter, but the funding through Kickstarter is never the full funding. Yeah, it's weird when like, because I remember that a friend of mine I had a friend who did a Kickstarter, and he had a publishing deal, and they were like, we will do the publishing deal if you succeed with the Kickstarter. So they were never promised anything, like regardless of either way, like they got a publishing deal, but the publishing deal wasn't promised because they still needed to live up to the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter, you know, still needed that publishing deal to make all ends meet. So it's making games is fucking expensive. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it's expensive and there's so much risk. And it's a business. That's the other thing that people often want to forget sometimes.
Turns out that it's not, there's no fun in games, despite what you think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I understand that people are like, games are a business and, oh, look at this corporate greed. There's also people need to get paid and fed and eat and stuff like that. So, and for that to become less risky, you do need to make these kind of like deals that are business oriented so that you have that security. But it's tricky. But anyways, Silksong, good shit. Neither of us have I don't know if we said, but neither of us have played it yet.
Yep. I wasn't planning on playing it after Hollow Knight, but I think at this point I may have to. I think it has rocketed up to my to playlist. Yeah.
On your backlist, yeah.
Yeah. The plan was Subnautica next, actually, but
Subnautica,
which I have not played yet. Yeah.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of games that everyone else has played that I've not played. Yeah.
You haven't played Subnautica?
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that game. No, I don't. I just want to be contrarian to every game we talk about from now on.
Well, I don't even know if I like it or not yet. I haven't played it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
No, I have that, like, what's it called? The fear of depth thing. So like, it's so hard for me to play that game.
Oh yeah, true.
It was a therapy thing for me to play the first game.
Right.
But it's good. I like it. I wonder if it's because Hollow Knight, I feel like when you play it now, it still stands the test of time. Like Subnautica, I don't remember if it feels like old.
Yeah.
When you play like control wise and like quality of life stuff.
We'll see. But yeah, Jace, you what? See? Okay, so here's the thing. All right. You know, like my understanding of Subnautica, again, I'm quite blind on this. I've just seen scary fish here and there. But I think it's kind of like an exploration and crafty game underwater. That's what I think it is, right? These are not the games that I play, right? And like Satisfactory, I don't play factory games, right? Like I don't play crafting games. Like there's like a lot of people know me for that area because it's what I worked with, but these are not the games that I play. So there's a lot of those games, and even like Metroidvania games, like Hollow Knight, like I don't really play these games. So there's like a lot of like really, really key ones that like I think I've just missed because I'm playing other things. But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited to check it out. I also know that, like, you know, I'm playing on streaming Subnautica. I know that like a lot of my followers would probably be interested in watching me play it, and yeah, should be good.
Where's the Factorio playthrough?
People have requested that. Yeah, that is quite low on the list. Not gonna lie. Yeah, there's I don't see that one ever bubbling to the surface.
But when they add factories to Subnautica, now we're talking.
Right.
Yeah.
You need jump scare memes when you play Subnautica? Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some big jump scares in that game. Holy shit.
Yeah. I think after finishing Satisfactory 1.0, I'm done with factory games entirely. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest reason why I wouldn't play Factorio. But also,
You played Oddsparks a ton, so I mean, come on.
yeah, Oddsparks is also Pikmin. Okay.
Yeah. It's still a factory game.
That is true. But Oddsparks gives me something else as well. It's not just pure ratios only in my head. It's also very sort of forgiving with that stuff too, in a way. But yeah, there's like other games like Dyson Sphere Program, right? I've got that as well. I have it, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't see me getting around to it, honestly.
Yeah. I felt the same way that you did before I played Oddsparks, because I saw you playing Oddsparks. I was like, that's cool, but I'm not going to play it. And then when 1.0 came out and I got a key, I was like, I'm going to play it on stream. And I got fucking so into it.
Right? It's really good, Oddsparks. Yeah.
But I for sure thought, I have reserved myself for Shapes. So when Shapes 2 comes out, I'm going to play that shit, because I really liked Shapes 1. So I'm saving myself for that. But other than that, yeah, I think factory games are, well, I say that, but I also want to play Star Rupture. But I don't want to play Star Rupture because of the factory part. I want to play Star Rupture because I want to run around and look at the environment.
Yeah.
I don't want to build factories. But
the masterpiece of Anno. Is Anno kind of like a city builder?
Yeah, it's like factory, or it's not factory, it's like a management game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not too big on that either.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, like I could probably play it, but we'll see.
I
prefer stuff with, like, I don't know. My taste is a bit. It depends. Like there are games of like genres that I don't really like, but if it's done in a specific way, it'll interest me. Yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of games where it's a game I don't think I would play, and then I receive a key to it and I try it out and I get super into it for like that duration. That's happened quite a few times. Yeah. That actually makes me question a lot of times when I see games that are popular, like, you know, I'm trying to think of a saying. Well, I'm like in your situation, right? Where like I see everyone talking about Hollow Knight and I just like, oh, it's not really for me. And then I play it and I'm like, oh, this is actually awesome. I've had that happen so many times for me. And I keep wondering, like, maybe I should just give more games more shots, because I probably would get into it.
Yeah. You know what game I had a really bizarre thing with was what's the, not Papers, Please, the one after that guy made. Obra Dinn, Return of the Obra Dinn, right? So I played, what's his name? Lucas Pope, that's his name, right?
Wait, was that the same devs?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Lucas Pope who made that game. I think, is he not actually a solo dev, or does he? I mean, maybe he has contractors too with like music and stuff.
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, so I played Obra Dinn and I was like, I really don't like this game. And then like 3 years later, I saw it in my Steam library and I was like, but this is made by Lucas Pope and I didn't like it. Therefore, I'm wrong. Because it's made by Lucas Pope, so it has to be good. So I did something wrong. And I jumped back in and that game was fucking incredible. It was so good. I was like, yep, I did it wrong. I played it wrong. I did bad. It was so. I'm so sorry, Lucas Pope. Yeah.
Was this for
your game was good? Huh?
Was this for Obra Dinn or
Obra Dinn? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't. Okay.
I had to go back to it, but it was But then it was like, oh, I love it. I love it so much. Yeah. Another 11 out of 10 game.
Yeah. He made a new one, Mars After Midnight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wait, where is this new one? It's like on his website. It's games by Lucas Pope. Yeah, 2024.
Ooh.
Wait, hold on. I can show this on stream.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this actually. Mars Midnight. What is this?
Yeah, I didn't know this either.
Oh, Playdate. Oh.
I do remember that he was working on Playdate stuff.
Yeah. How did that do?
I don't know.
Because it's that, for those who don't know, Playdate is this thing, right? Where it's like a little Game Boy thing and it has this like little crank that you can like spin.
I mean, I bet it's probably pretty decent. Like I think didn't they get like can anyone dev for it or yeah.
Oh Jesus! I mean, I think it's reasonable to some extent because I think hardware is always very, very expensive.
Sure.
But this is a PlayStation when like PlayStation 4 came out. You know, I think PlayStation 4 was like 300. I want to believe that it was at least. Maybe it's not. Or PlayStation 3 maybe. Whatever. It's a lot of money. You can save 70 if you buy the summer bundle.
What a deal.
But yeah, I've there's a lot of developers that I think are great designers that have made games for this one. So I'm sure there's a lot of good games there.
I can't remember if anyone can make games for it or if it was. There's something in my mind right now that was like they invited specific devs to make stuff for it back in the day for its launch maybe, and I think they sort of handpicked like pretty skilled designers and stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened. At least for the launch.
Yeah, so they did exactly. It's exactly what you said. Like for launch, they made like a bundle of launch titles that were made.
It was like every week a new one dropped or something like that as well.
Or they announced it or something. Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Because anyone can make games for it. It's like you can buy a simulator and it's like Lua and C API, so you can make it in whatever, and then you have like a emulator that runs it, and like you can pull the crank.
Oh, it sounds fun to dev for actually.
It sounds like a game jam thing, right?
Right. But you know the what's the other virtual console? The what's it called?
The lo-fi one, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
What the fuck is it called? The one Celeste was made for originally.
Right.
Chat, help.
What is it called?
Bit something, right?
That's not ringing a bell.
Fucking, it was called Pico 8.
Pico 8.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yep.
Yeah.
Pico 8.
Pico 8.
Yep.
Also pretty nice to do game jams in.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do something in Pico 8. That would be really fun.
Because you just do it in the web browser, right? It's like a web browser based dev environment.
I think so.
For it. And if they could make Celeste in it, then you can make anything in it.
Yep. Looks fun.
Yep. We can do chat on chat now. Oh, I guess we kind of have, but this is we're on this official chat on chat segment right now.
If you all have questions or topics or recommendations first. Yeah. All right. You know what? I haven't really thought of a recommendation today, but I think I have one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. What do you think it is?
Hollow Knight?
Yeah, I recommend Hollow Knight. Actually, if you haven't played it, check it out. It's pretty good. I'm so in love with it, honestly. If that wasn't clear or obvious, why would I recommend something else right here, right now? It makes sense. So yeah, I'm just gonna cop out and say Hollow Knight today. Do check it out. It is fantastic. Yeah.
The funny thing is, if you weren't going to do Hollow Knight, I was going to do Hollow Knight today. Can I do Silksong?
yeah, go for it.
I haven't played Silksong. Actually, as a meme, I'm going to recommend Super Metroid then.
Okay.
Same vein, right? Have you guys played Super Metroid? Ever heard of it?
I have not played it.
No,
I've only seen other people play it.
It's a classic. I would recommend playing it on like well, you don't have Switch. No, you do have Switch, right?
Me? I have Switch.
Yeah. So the retro, they have like that. You can buy old games on Switch.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
That emulation is really good.
Okay.
Yeah. The SNES I also have that like SNES thingy that like you could buy for a limited amount of time. The emulator on that is also really, really good. It's really accurate. The SNES Mini. The Super Metroid emulation on that is very accurate. So accurate, in fact, that they allow it on the Speedrun Archive thingy.
Wow.
Yeah. So sometimes they have like a tag that shows like original hardware, and they count SNES Mini actually as original hardware sometimes, even though it actually isn't. It's an emulator, but it's pretty good. But yeah, that version is really good. But Super Metroid, good shit. If you want to see where I'm coming from, I guess not really, in terms of these discussions that we had before. The thing is, Super Metroid is kind of arcane in how movement works in that game, because like it doesn't have those quality of life features, right? And wall jumping is really, really awkward compared to modern games. But you have so much more control, and you can. It's like hard to pick up and hard, but also hard to master. And the master goes a lot further than you think.
Right.
But a lot of people get frustrated when they play Super Metroid and feel like the controls are kind of weird, which I agree with. It's kind of like tricky.
When did that come out? It was like the
94.
94.
Yeah. Good shit.
Holy cow. What is it? Is that 30 years ago? Oh no. Games 10 years ago. Games what you think were 10 years ago.
Yep, that's the Final Fantasy one.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 10, right?
Yeah, Final Fantasy 10 is 20.
Yeah, that's 25 years ago now, right? Or something.
Yeah. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
All right. Chat on chat is basically a segment where we just hang out with you guys and chat whatever you guys want to talk about. So if you have any questions that you want to ask us regarding like game dev or what we're doing, or or anything really, like there's nothing stopping you.
Yep.
Just ask away, or if there's anything we want us to react to or talk about, then
we can start with this one for now. This is one that I got from earlier. I don't know if this person's still here or not, but we'll see. If I click the button, I think it goes live.
Yeah.
Yep. So the King in Purple asked, what other Metroidvania games have you boys played?
The boys.
I don't think there's none that come to my mind. Like there could have been a Metroidvania game that I've played that was a Metroidvania that I just don't remember was. In a way, Animal Well, is that sort of Metroidvania? Like when you think of like the map. Okay.
Yeah, it counts as a Metroidvania.
Right. So then I've played Animal Well. Yeah. There must have been some others that I've played here or there, but I don't really remember. So it's not really like a genre that I've gotten very deep in myself.
Tunic actually is sometimes considered as a Metroidvania game.
Tunic, really?
Yeah,
okay. Interesting.
Because so this is a deep discussion that happens all the time in the Super Metroid community specifically. But a lot of people would argue that Link to the Past and like those type of games are also kind of Metroidvania games, because the definition of a Metroidvania game in a lot of cases is like you have a big plot of places you can go to, but you're blocked off by like something that you need an ability to get to, right? And often you need to backtrack to get to it.
Yeah.
And, Link to the Past has a lot of that, right? Where you need to get an item in dungeon so you can go.
Is Link to the Past a Metroidvania game?
So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people would argue that Link to the Past is a Metroidvania game because it sort of fulfills that. But a lot of people will say that for it to be a Metroidvania game, it needs to have platforming. That's one thing that a lot of people will like. The camp of really hardcore Metroidvania.
As someone who doesn't discuss this all the time, I will just say, that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
Because it feels really arbitrary, right? Like I feel like a Metroidvania game should be more than whether or not you jump on platforms.
Exactly.
Right? That's so, to me, that just feels so like arbitrary.
Yeah. Because the weird thing for me is, why are we calling it Metroidvania game and not Metroid-likes, We have roguelike, we have Souls-like, we have, when a game sort of sets a genre, it's strange to me that we don't do that for Metroid games.
Isn't that because, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it because it's like Super Metroid and Castlevania together, and they sort of looked kind of the same with their platforming, and their rooms and the navigation kind of thing? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But even then, you could argue that Castlevania took from Metroid, because Metroid is way older.
Right.
So like, why isn't it just Metroid-like? Because Castlevania has that. I don't know. This is something that is a discussion that I'm not like. I'm exposed to this discussion all the time because I'm in that community. But I just like,
you don't care. It's just a word. Yeah, it's just a word. But I guess the more interesting thing is like, yeah, like, because when you say tunic, in my mind, initially I was like, that doesn't seem to fit my understanding of Metroidvania. But then when the second I started thinking about it, like, oh yeah, I mean, like if you just take those rooms and you extrapolate them out into 3D, right? Like they don't have to be a 2D layout, right? Like, it doesn't have to be that way. It's still effectively the same thing, but you just move in a different way. It starts to sort of make sense to me because all the other, many of the other things, dots start getting connected in terms of like what you're saying, the locks and keys in the game and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think many people can have many different opinions as to like what feels like that title, like it's sort of like indie games, right? A lot of people say, oh, indie games is when your studio is independent and they publish a game, and sometimes you'd be like, this feels like an indie game, you know what I mean? Like, oh, Dave the Diver, that's an indie game. No, that was made by a studio that's owned by, so they're not independent,
Right,
but
yeah.
it still has the elements of an indie game.
Yeah.
So like, it always comes down to
Yeah.
the general populace definition of something, which is always hard to
And not
agree
always
on
right.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyways,
We're consistent. We should move on so we don't get
yeah.
on to this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Anyways,
yeah.
I play a lot of Metroidvania games. I think Super Metroid is my favorite one. Axiom Verge is really high up on my list, which it's specifically the first one, but the second one too. I just love that world. It's so cool. And then Ori and the Blind Forest is great. Metroid Dread, all the Metroid games. I don't like the Prime games, but I like all the other 2D ones. Except Other M, of course. Castlevania, of course. Dead Cells. You know what's a really underrated Metroidvania games, chat? The Mummy. Weird. Specifically the Tom Cruise The Mummy.
Tom Cruise The Mummy?
Yeah. Tom Cruise made... They tried to reboot The Mummy. I don't know if you remember this. And they made a game to accompany that. And... part of Tom Cruise's contract was that they were not allowed to use his likeness for anything except the movie. So they couldn't include Tom Cruise in the Mummy game. So they just made a spin-off of the Mummy, and it was like a Metroidvania game, and it's really good. So I highly recommend that. Anyways.
God damn. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next one.
Do you think they will finish Star Citizen?
Hold up, it's not on the stream yet. You're getting ahead.
I took
you cheater. Okay.
Yeah, I filled the blank.
From Little Dog.
Yeah.
Serious question. Do you think they will finish Star Citizen, like get it to a state they wanted to get it to? To me, I have no clue. My understanding is that they're just cooking the way that they cook and they do things their own way. I think that like...
I think so like I'm not super well versed in the state of Star Citizen. I think one problem that game has, or like the whole discussion of that game rather, is like what that means, because they are saying they're in early access, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they say like, if I go to Steam.
Yeah, I don't know if they say that necessarily or not, but I like the thing for me is that like. They're just defining their dev process the way that they want to define it.
Yeah.
And that's like the end of the story. So the reason I get a little bit like confused with this question is like, I think the answer is baked into it. So will they get it to a point that they wanted to get it to? I think they will eventually, right? Like at some point, like even if they just keep deving for 20 more years, and who knows, maybe like if money eventually dries up or something, or they just want to get it done, then they're just going to decide this is what I think, right? They're probably just going to decide this is probably our stopping point that we like at this point. Because at this point, I don't think they really play by anyone else's rules, to be honest.
No.
For better or worse. To me, I kind of respect it. They're doing their thing. So. I don't know. Like, if you were to ask them and they were to say, well, we don't really want to finish making it, right? We just want to keep working on it alongside the community, right? Then it doesn't really make sense for them to finish, right?
Yeah.
And they could do that. So I don't know. It sort of depends.
Because here's the thing for me, right? It's because if I go to the website, they don't mention that the game is like in an early access state or that they have that Star Citizen is not the game that it can be right now, right? The Star Citizen is what it is right now, right? It's this like MMO, shoot around or fly around in a spaceship and do cool things, right? Originally, at the start, of course, they were like, we want to make this big ass grand game that we can't make in a year. We need support to do it while we're doing it. But like, even if that was even it was that No Man's Sky situation where like they are promising something that they haven't delivered yet. I mean, the game is what it is today, and so long as they're not like actively I know they have this like kind of weird scummy situation with how you pay for certain stuff in the game. I guess I said it before. I don't fully know.
You can buy like ships and stuff, and then they come out.
Yeah, and they have like their
later,
in-game currency and stuff that you can pay for and stuff like that. But regardless, the game is in a state that it is right now. I know people who play it right now that think it's definitely worth it, and it's a really fun experience.
I know a lot of people who really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are a little bit stuck in the idea that, oh, they promised another game, they promised a different game or something like that, and this is definitely a sort of live service game, right? Where this game is evolving as time goes on, and there's no saying that 2 years ago, 4 years from now, or whatever, that things are going to look different. And I think maybe what they're bad at is explaining that, like maybe the fact that people still have this like mentality that they promised something a long time ago that they didn't deliver. I don't know if that's true or not, but the fact that that still lingers on, maybe that's something that they need to be better at communicating or something like that.
Well, I think that's a pretty interesting point to bring up, because like that could have happened. But at the end of the day, like if we look at where we are today, they probably do communicate what they're planning on doing with their audiences right now. But the audience who are interested in the game and who play the game and enjoy the game, they'll hear that and they go, okay, thanks for the update. Now we know what the plan is, which is whatever it is. But I think people who are still who only know of the game not actualizing into what it was supposed to be in the time frame that it was supposed to be might just see that as a betrayal, and they're not gonna pay attention to any other news that comes out. They're not gonna. I bring this up because you say maybe they're not doing a good job at explaining it. They could explain it perfectly, but if people aren't looking or listening because they don't want to listen to them anymore because of what happened before, then there's no amount of explaining that can ever fix that. Is the point that I'm making. Yeah.
And I think also, just to sort of go back to the question specifically the little dog had here, it's like the term here, like finish Star Citizen, like maybe initially they had this sentiment that like we're gonna finish Star Citizen at some point, but I don't really feel like that's it's hard to say when the game is finished. You can say the same thing about even Satisfactory, right? Like where 1.0, was that really the finished game?
And why was that 1.0? Why wasn't update 8 1.0? Why wasn't 1.1 1.0, right?
Yeah.
It's just an arbitrary point that was sort of put down.
Yeah. So I feel like some games are sort of, it's hard to fully boil down to what it means. And I think Star Citizen now, at least, it feels like those kind of games, that kind of game where it is an evolving game. I don't know if there is a finished Star Citizen, or maybe there is. Like when they stop working on it, then that's when it will be finished, I guess.
Yeah.
But I also wonder if, because again, I'm not super well versed in all the intricacies of this, if people still feel that they were scammed for Star Citizen or not. Like if they were promised something that they feel that they didn't live up to or not. And I think it's really hard to say whether or not that was the case or not. Because I mean, people felt the same way about No Man's Sky, and people sort of turned around on that stuff. But I don't really see that for Star Citizen, and I'm kind of curious, like why? Because Star Citizen looks like a fucking phenomenal game. Like if I'm gonna be honest, like when I look in at what I see.
It's not like they're doing nothing with their game. They're working really hard on it. It seems so. I don't know.
But it's interesting. It is a topic that I constantly see come up all the time.
Ruri did put a quote in here from an article. Star Citizen is currently in alpha development phase, a stage characterized by ongoing feature addition. So that's what they say that they're in, I guess. Or that's from an article, I guess. So I'm not sure if that's actually what they say that they're in. But yeah. But yeah, the No Man's Sky situation is very interesting as well, right? Like a lot of people felt that they were wronged by the promises that were made at the beginning of No Man's Sky. And I think it's really interesting because, what's his name? Sean Murray, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I love Sean Murray. I think he's great, right? And you know, did he like embellish too much or overpromise or whatever at that time? Maybe, but I think the dude was like, I think their team was fairly small at the time. I think they were like, we needed someone to go on the camera. Like it wasn't this big conspiracy or someone who was like maliciously trying to ruin everything. It was just like a dude who kind of
was really excited for.
He was
the game
excited
that they
about
were
his
working
game
on.
and maybe said too much, which is not good, right? And so if people feel wronged for that, that is valid, right? That's fine, right? I do think that the response was too harsh, but at the end of the day, I think what's really cool is that they just said, all right, we're going to focus on the people who want to support us, because we do want to make a good game. They do want to do that, right? And now it's one of the biggest and most successful games out there, and most beloved games out there now, right? So like, who's to say that like Star Citizen couldn't end up becoming a similar thing, right? Yeah, like I know people who were saying that the development studio for No Man's Sky, like they shouldn't be allowed to exist anymore. They should close down for what they did. And it's like, well, fast forward to now, and it's like, well, you wouldn't have what No Man's Sky is now if they didn't keep going. So,
Yep. All right. Hopefully that answered your question, little dog. Next one from Unlicensed Streamer. How large should a dev team be before hiring a community manager makes sense?
I think
if you can afford it.
Go for it.
That's basically it. If you can afford it, then why not?
I wouldn't say if you could afford it, because you could maybe afford it, and it could be at a time where it's like you couldn't utilize it. I think the important thing is like, are you in a position to utilize it? So do you have? You don't necessarily need to have a project that is so good and polished that your community manager could work with, right? By like posting stuff about the game, right? You have to also be a studio that's willing to share about your game, and all of those things, right? So like, are you a studio that like can afford a community manager, have stuff to share, willing to let your community manager cook? Like, if you can do those things, then it sounds like you could use a community manager then, right?
Yeah.
Then might as well. Even if in the beginning, it's just a drop in the ocean in terms of who comes along to see your stuff. But if you end up creating a body of work, which is sort of what we tried to do in the beginning, like we ended up getting a lot of attention pretty quickly with Satisfactory though. So we had a lot to work with, fortunately, as community managers. But if you end up making like a big body of work, you never know how that can, take off on places like YouTube or other socials.
Because the important thing really is that you need to be in a position where you feel you can grow with your community. If you're making something and you feel like you can't really grow it with your community, then it might be too, like you're saying here, you're not really utilizing that role specifically. Because I've worked with people, I work with teams, there were like 3 people, and they have a 4th person who's dedicated community manager, and they can definitely utilize it because they're making games where they're very community driven. So they have like the reason to have a dedicated person to do this stuff because it's a big part of their development process. And some teams don't work like that at all, where they just want to cook alone and then just drop it. And in that sense, it's weird to have like a dedicated community manager because like what are they gonna do? Like they're just gonna post funny videos. I mean, you could have someone who does that, but is that the best use of resources in that case? And I guess if you can afford someone to do that, then okay, sure, go for it.
Yeah, and then go for it.
Yeah. But like you're saying here, right? Like this, you need to really be in a position where you can actually take advantage of it. And I don't think that necessarily has to do with the size of the team. It's just like if you're in a good spot to do it. In many regards, development cycle, all that stuff. So yeah. All right.
Next one.
Yep. If you guys Infinite money. What kind of game would you make? So when we say infinite money, it sounds like it doesn't have to be like financial successful or whatever. It doesn't have to make sense in terms of.
Well, this is not what they're saying. They're saying if you have infinite money to make something,
Yeah.
what would you do?
Oh.
It's not about like will the game be successful or not. My
Yeah.
answer is simple. It's the game I'm making now.
Yeah, I was gonna say your game is your game.
Yeah, so that's what I would make. There's no other
Yeah.
game I want to make like personally.
I think for
Star
me,
Citizen.
I definitely think I would make a Metrovania. Honestly, I would not. I would make a game. Yeah, I think I would make a game that I would want to play. Not to say that the game that I'm making now is not a game I want to play, but I made a lot of when decided what game to make. There was many things to factor in. I think if I had like infinite resources, the thing I'm debating in my head right now is, okay, so does that mean that I can like scale up and have like 100 people working on this amazing game, you know, and we can just cook away and do our own thing. We don't have to care about anything other than making a good game, and we have so much money that it doesn't matter. Like in terms of like, yeah, everyone's gonna be happy. In that case, I would want to make like a fucking, you know, a stealth like Splinter Cell style game. That's like, you know, massive and has so many missions you can't even believe it, you know. And that's a game I really want to play too. But yeah, I think that's what my answer would be, because the other thing I'm debating too is like what that means. You'd have to have a lot of personnel responsibility. But if I had infinite money, that wouldn't be a problem. I was just like, here's money.
This sounds awful, dude. It sounds awful. Like there's something that money doesn't fix, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you have that many people, do you know how much shit you have to deal with? It doesn't matter if you could pay for it, right? But there's just like, there's so many like people need to line up right, you know, like, you know, work well, like getting all that sorted. That's all shit that like I would never want to deal with. So I would never make a game that big, and I would never have a team that big.
That's what I mean, like when I'm debating this internally, because I agree with you there, but I also like see it as a but I could employ a ton of people and give them money. I have infinite money.
It doesn't fix those things, but yeah.
No, I know.
Those things will happen anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So it's you know, I mean, I guess you'll have money to buy like aspirin or something, you know, like
yeah, exactly. Because honestly, like, because the best scenario is really like, I know like 4 or 5 people that I love working with, and we would be able to work forever on something.
Right.
We could make that Splinter Cell of just us 4 or 5 people. It's gonna take forever, but we could do it.
There you go. Well, that sounds like a dream, right? It's like that sounds so fun to do.
But then I was like, do I really want to work on the same game for like 15 years or whatever?
Yeah, 15 years is a bit rough.
Yeah, or whatever, how long it would take to make that. I don't know.
Just be the idea, man. No. And then hire someone else to do it. No.
No, I would that actually.
You're just watching other people ruin your ideas, but also you're not actually doing the fun part of making things yourself.
I need to be part of it. Like, I need to be in the trenches, because a big part of game dev for me is the fact that you're doing something together with a bunch of people, and you're making it, and you're figuring it out together with people, and like finding out what to do. And it's never going to be perfect, and that's part of it, right? So I don't know. It's a tough question, but I think I would love to make a stealth game, Splinter Cell something. I probably wouldn't sell that well, but whatever. That's the game I want to make. All right. Let's see if I can get the other one to show up here. So from Cathacel, how dependent are you on feedback? In my case, while programming, I would like to have feedback from others quite quick to not develop something players do not like or does not feel right. Yeah, feedback is really important. I think in general, it's not necessarily so much like this is kind of faceted question, right? Because feedback is both like something you implemented in your game from players, but there's also feedback in terms of how you develop something and like working together with people, which I think is really important when you work with other people. It's like you have good feedback loops, because if you had good feedback loops, I think that intrinsically you get that in the game as well. But me right now, I'm getting no feedback. Well, that's not true. I actually do get feedback.
You've got some playtesters. Yeah,
I've had some playtests, and it's really important to always playtest early. Like even if the game is trash, you need to find people that you trust that can give you like the feedback that you need in various situations for your game. I see a lot of people who always wait too late before they get feedback, and there's like in a lot of like post-mortem talks that I see with solo developers, they always say like, I waited for too long before I asked for feedback.
Right.
And I get that, because I tried my game. I had like a short little playtest like 2 or 3 weeks in, and that actually was really helpful, even though, you know, they said what I knew, but it was still reinforcing, you know, what I believed. And that's good feedback regardless. And I also realized something I didn't think of. So I probably should do another playtest round with what I have, but everything's so broken right now. So not enough for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially what you said. And at the end of the day, you want to minimize wasting your time as much as possible, right? So if you can get that feedback, it's always kind of nice. But like it can be tricky how are you roping people, like players, for example, who are going to be playtesting, so that you can get those answers, right? Or if it's not players, it's other team members, right? You got to do frequent playtests internally so that you can figure out what you're doing. I think it is a good thing to not want to, you know, put too much time, invest time into what you're working on, knowing in the back of your mind that it might get scrapped. I think it's important. But like on the other side of things, whatever your setup is, y'all aren't implementing a feedback loop in some way, then like you just have to trust your gut and you know, go with what you think is right and what you think is good. And there's a degree of that is also it's not necessarily something that I would recommend as like this is superior, but there is something about people coming up with their own ideas in a vacuum that maybe don't always make sense, but end up having a bit of charm to them. So depending on what it is and what the situation is, like that can always sometimes be better than feedback, because feedback isn't always correct either. Yeah. Like if you get feedback, you don't just act on it. You have to parse it somehow, and you have to determine what's right and what's wrong. Because if you ask someone feedback, they're just going to give you feedback for the sake of giving you feedback because you asked them to. And that's not the same as if they were have just sat down on their own at home, played with whatever the thing is that you made, and then had their own feelings that they didn't have to, explain to someone. That's a different context to a playtest. So feedback is something that you have to be really intentional about how you deal with, even if you do collect it.
Yeah, there's a lot of times when you actually have like when you are in a situation where you're given feedback, where the feedback may not be right, like you say here, right? There might be, like we talked about before, where there's a lot of games that just add quality of life features, even though they might take away a lot from the game. I'm sure that Hollow Knight had playtests where people were like, it's confusing that I don't see myself on the map. I don't like that. And they
definitely would have. They had to have gotten that feedback. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. For sure. And they would have been like, yeah, we could add it, so you just get that by default. But we lose something if we do that. So and then you have this.
And to them, they believe it's worth more. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So wait, Rob Chuck just did a quick question on this one. So do you know an example of when the feedback was there, but the dev stuck to their guns and it backfired? Backfired badly. Okay.
Backfired badly. I would say that doesn't happen as often, but that definitely has happened to me a couple of times. Because like a lot of, in my experience, Like in my
Yeah.
experience, a lot of times when you get feedback that you think, no, they're wrong. This is not a good. Oh wait, what was? So is the question like if you?
What they're saying is if you got feedback but you were like, no, they're wrong, and you stick to your guns,
Yeah,
but then it
yeah.
backfires badly on you because
Yeah.
because you're
So-
wrong actually.
Yeah. So that's not that's happened in projects that I worked on where we had a project where we were working on a rhythm game, and for the longest time we would have like sound effects trigger from user. So like whenever they would press the buttons, they would play a sound effect, and that would make it so they would get this weird feedback loop where the sound is delayed because of latency from the controller to the console, and then the sound is played, and then the player hears it, and there's like a whole latency loop, right? And that makes it so that the next input is slower, and that adds more into so it just adds this weird feedback loop, right? And a lot of players said, this doesn't feel tight. And for the longest time, we were like, you're wrong. We've measured this. It is tight. And then as an experiment, I removed the sound, and it instantly made the game so much better. And it took way too long before we got to that point. It was like half a year of us being, nope, you guys are wrong. We have measured this. I actually had like a camera of what's it called? Filming in like super high, like 120 FPS, looking at like people pressing the button and seeing the input on the screen and be like, nope, it is like super tight. Like this is correct. But the experience didn't match the measurements that we did, and we stuck with it for too long because we felt like we wanted to be unique because no other game did that. For good reason, no other game did that. So that I think that was one case where we got feedback for one thing and we just refused to give into it. But I feel like there's been a couple of times where people gave us feedback on Satisfactory and we were like, no, we're not doing that, and then eventually we still did it. But those were times where
that's the thing that I'm getting a little hung up on, like the question a little bit, because it's not so clear cut. Like I'm sure there are examples that are absolutely clear cut. I think Snoot, you've just given a really good one. But a lot of the times, like if someone gives feedback and you stick to your guns and you end up being wrong in the long run, that doesn't necessarily mean you were wrong in the moment, right? Like, because like it might have still been a reasonable determination for you in that moment, and it might have been that what you needed to make that decision in the long run required more feedback or more information. So like, it sometimes can be a little bit tricky in that sense, yeah.
Because that's how I feel with all the stuff with Satisfactory specifically, where like, we did go back on some of these things, and it definitely made the game better. But like at the time, it didn't make sense to make some of these choices.
Yeah. Or we had to ride out some of those discomforts for to get the evidence that like, oh no, this definitely is right. Like it's like sometimes there's some feedback that we'd act on quickly, and then there's other feedback that we wouldn't, right? And that's because like if we were to think about it this way, like the standard of evidence that we get that supports the decision is different in those different cases for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yes. I can scratch this one. We're gonna do the last one, or?
Yep. Go for it, and then there's one more that I'll do after. Yeah, but it'll be quick.
So let's do any VR interests. There's a genre of type of game, it's just got a small screen. I got it there. So is there a genre or type of game you wanted to see adapted to VR? Personally looking for Stardew Animal Crossing like. So I can't play VR games. I get too motion sick. And I know people are going to be like, no, but you can just get used to it. I used to be a producer for a VR game, and it was so rough. I can play VR games for 15 minutes tops, then I need to barf.
Skill issue.
Yeah. And I've been part of like, when VR was a thing, I was part of like those, like, I want to say experiments, but it sounds like they experimented on me. But it's, those like where they're researching motion sickness in VR. And I was one of those like candidates that tried it, and they tried a lot of different things to like adapt it, and it never worked on me. So I just can't play VR games. So I'm just like not interested whatsoever.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm also not interested in VR for various reasons. I mean, I guess I can give the reasons, but I'm more interested in trying to see if I can engage with the question. But like, you know, in terms of like, is there a genre type of game you're wanting to see adapted to VR? Honestly, I do think Satisfactory in VR would be sick. Like it really, I don't know how it would play, but to like walk around in a factory that you've built, or just to be able to look around, you know, like, you know, be inside. I think that would be really sick. Really, really, really sick. So that's the thing with VR. Like, there's some experiences that I think would be cool, but unfortunately, I'm so divorced from VR because for me personally, I just don't see it as like a platform that I'm ever going to get into. Yeah, it's basically the thing that I don't like about it is like the fact that you wear something on your head and like the sweat that comes with that, like all the other weird shit you can't see really outside or whatever. And like there's all this like weird stuff with VR that just makes me go, I'm never going to put that thing on my head. It's just not going to happen, right? Like I've played Beat Saber at a friend's place, you know, and they're like, oh, they do a go, and they're like, here, have a go, and I put it on. I've got my friend's sweat on my face now. They're like, no, I'm good. I don't want to play VR. Okay, yeah. So that's unfortunately the issue. So I can't really give you a better answer.
No, yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah. Maybe last one that we can end on real quick because we're over time, or we're probably at time given the start. Yeah. This one's not a question though, but
I was gonna say like I'm gonna shame you because this is not a question.
Nope, can't shame me if I shame myself.
True.
This is from Haraz here. Hey, I'm in that mood. So let me say it. You two have been the part of development and communication of my number one favorite game, Satisfactory. I deeply appreciate your work. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you know what? I'm probably not alone here. I'm sure you get it as well, Snutt. We get a lot of kind words for the work we've done before and the stuff we do now. So thank you, everyone, for the kind words. Just want to say thanks a lot. Helps a lot. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Appreciate
and joining
you
us on. And thank you very much for hanging out with us on stream.
Wait, here's an important one, actually. There's another. I just found this one in this document. This is important, chat.
Oh, what's this one?
Yeah, this one.
Oh, no.
Holy shit. And colon. That's a colon. Smells like my colon.
Chatter. Who's that weird chatter? Mods ban them.
This is like a test that we did for the system we have in the back end so we can properly filter. And I forgot about this fucking sentence.
It's a pretty good sentence.
It's pretty good. But yeah, I appreciate everyone being here and hanging out with us throughout the years. And I appreciate all the kind words we've received over the years.
Yep.
For Satisfactory or this stuff that we do here as well. So appreciate you all. And thank you for tuning in today as well.
Yep. Thanks a lot, everybody. Yep. Baby. Good fun. So yeah, just a reminder again, in case you missed it, I'm going to be going to Japan next week. We'll have to give you guys updates on the socials, so make sure to follow us or join our Discords and things like that to be updated on when we're going to be live with State of Dev next. But next week, we won't be live. That won't be possible. But thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, because I'm going to be streaming after this.
Yes. Stay tuned. And
if you're,
until next time,
if you're watching on YouTube, leave a like.
Subscribe. Hit the bell. Buy coffee. Sell your soul to the devil.
Subscribe to our OnlyFans. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye, everyone.